It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
Hello there, South Mississippi. This is your Monday edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. For this Memorial Day Monday, as many of you gather with family and friends to spend time with the ones you love, perhaps, of course, observing and honoring the holiday, this is going to be a mixed bag of weather for us today. We've already seen a mixed bag of weather this morning, depending on how long you've been awake. Much earlier this morning, about 4 or 5 hours ago, we had some downpours. And ever since then, the weather's kind of mellowed out. And that's what I'm here to tell you. How long will it be until maybe the weather changes again? So thanks for tuning in. Let's get right to the information in the forecast. First, let's start off with this live view of our cams in Gulfport, Biloxi. You can see all of those views show some sunshine, so even though we did get some rain to start the day, things are improving. And as we take a look at those rain chances for your Memorial Day plans, let's take a look. So what I've done, the latest adjustment shows the chance for the rest of this morning is decreasing, so that's good news. If you want to maybe enjoy some rain-free hours, this is the time to take advantage of that, especially for the next 5 or so hours. You know, right now the time as of the recording of this video, as of the occurrence of this video, is about 8:30 in the morning. So you got 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, maybe 2:30. I would say a good solid 5 or 6 hours here. For the next 5 or 6 hours, you're probably not going to see that high of a chance for rain. But then you go beyond the 2:30 toward that 3 p.m. and later time frame, and that's where you see that increase in rain chance heading into later Monday afternoon as well as later Monday evening. So that's something that I don't want you to be caught off guard by if you are planning maybe some dinner time events, activities with your friends and family. This is that time frame that you want to keep an eye on the weather, because we could see maybe another round of downpours and thunder moving in, maybe similar to kind of what we had earlier Monday morning. We're watching some rain and storms in Texas and Louisiana that might try to make their way to our neck of the woods by that point in time. And today is just one of several days that will feature a pretty good chance for rain in South Mississippi. You can see this map for the next 3 days shows, and we'll make this bigger on your screen. You can see most of the area is colored in that yellow color. So most of us are probably going to pick up an inch of rain between now and the end of Wednesday. But then you can see some spots in that red color where it's closer to Wiggins, Lucedale, maybe east of Van Cleve. So maybe some of us could actually pick up more than 3 inches of rain over the next 3 days. Now, the model is not going to get the exact location nailed precisely 3 days in advance, but just the general idea that someone in South Mississippi could wind up with more than 3 inches of rain, maybe 4, maybe 5 inches of rain when it's all said and done by the end of Wednesday. And if only the end of Wednesday were the end of our wet pattern, but there's actually the potential for us to continue seeing more rain chances heading into Thursday and Friday. Now, this data is going to load, and when it does, you're going to see purple colors, if not red colors, across South Mississippi once this data loads. So there it is. And sure enough, you got those purple and red colors, which if you look at the scale on the left side of the screen, a purple color indicates a rain amount of about 2 inches. And then you get to the red and orange colors, and that represents an amount of about 4 inches. So most of South Mississippi could wind up with 2 to 4 inches of rain by the end of Friday. And folks, we're kind of in the bullseye. Across the deep south, there's going to be this pattern that sets up that allows for places in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Georgia to wind up with some wet weather heading into this week. The pattern that's in place right now is that there's a stationary front. This front is draped across the deep south, and it's not going to move for the next several days. I don't think we will see this front begin to move until we get closer to the Thursday time frame, and that is what could finally change the pattern. It won't really change it to one that's less wet, but it will make the type of rain we see different, I guess, because the type of rain we're going to be seeing in the short term here going to be these disturbances that keep diving down toward our coast. We've already seen a few of these. If you were around this past weekend, one of them dove in from the north on Saturday night and brought us some Saturday night rain in the parts of South Mississippi. When we were last together on Friday, we were expecting that. However, we were mainly expecting it for basically George County, but it actually wound up clipping into portions of Biloxi and D'Iberville as well. So it got a little bit more southward than we were expecting on Friday for that Saturday night rain. Well, look, as we track the rain that's on the map over the last 12 hours, you'll track right there. That little push downward was the rain that we saw early this Monday morning. But look, there's another area over Texas and Louisiana. And the thinking is that based off of the information that we're seeing this Monday morning, some of this activity, my white circle got kind of lost there in all the white clouds. Let's try a red one. So all of this activity here over Texas and Louisiana is making a beeline for our area. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on, as some of this is moving off toward the east and southeast, and maybe it gets into our neck of the woods by Monday evening. So don't be caught off guard by that. It's a good thing that you're already watching the weather forecast this morning. That way you'll be in the know. You know now to look or pay attention to the weather for Monday evening in case we see a secondary round of downpours and thunderstorms in South Mississippi. So that's the pattern that we have for now. The stalled front located north of us. This keeps our region in generally higher rain chances for at least the next 3 days, if not for the next 3 to 5 days. And so you will want to make sure that your umbrella is with you each day here. Your raincoat is with you each day as we keep these chances for rain on the higher end. By the end of Friday, many of us picking up 2 to 4 inches of rain, but I'm not ruling out some isolated spots that pick up, 5-inch totals or higher. So for this Memorial Day Monday, as we honor those who were fallen in the line of service, in the line of duty, the weather is pretty good this morning, I would say, relatively speaking, compared to what we could see by this evening. It's a pretty nice weather morning. Yes, it's warm. Yes, it's muggy. And yes, the temperatures today will actually crank up to the upper 80s and lower 90s. But at least we don't have to worry about dodging downpours, I would say, throughout the rest of this morning, because the chance for rain for the rest of this morning is lower. We showed you the chance earlier in the video, about 20 or 30%. But the chance for rain will eventually increase later this evening, and it could get closer to around 50%. So this is a look at the temperature forecast, seeing upper 80s by the beaches. Look, a Memorial Day weekend is by many considered as the unofficial start to summer. And so it's going to be no surprise if you're driving down Highway 90, if you're driving down the beachfront areas today, you're probably going to see more people out and about spending time with family and friends this weekend, as it's the kind of unofficial kickoff of summer. And it will feel like it. No surprise there. On the Mississippi coast, we're going to see a heat index today in the mid to upper 90s. Even though the temperature won't be that hot, the temperature will be around 90, maybe 89. But because it's so muggy, it's going to feel like it's hotter. So be sure to stay hydrated, find a nice comfortable spot in the shade, and don't get sunburned. Today's UV index is extreme, so you don't want to forget that sunscreen too. Quick check on the first alert radar, nothing to track for you, but look at the futurecast and watch as we go through time. Even though this morning doesn't show much rain, we do begin to see a few pop-up showers. Look at that little bitty one just to the west of Slidell. That's why we have a 30% chance around 1 p.m. That little bitty pop-up shower does not have to be near Slidell. It could be near Bay St. Louis. It could be near Gulfport, Biloxi. It could be near Pascagoula, Moss Point. I think any of our areas are up for grabs for a pop-up shower or storm around 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. Chance 30%, not 0%. look, there it went. It rolled right over Picayune. Let's rewind this. So this is what I'm talking about. It's interesting. It shows it popping up over the coast of Louisiana, but anyone on the Mississippi coast needs to keep an eye out for these little early afternoon pop-ups. Yeah, it's basically rolling right over the Kill and Picayune around 2 p.m. Maybe the model's correct, and that's exactly where it will be located, but in general, you shouldn't take the model like it's, the Bible. It might not have it exactly right on the location. So just be thinking in general, the general idea is for some early afternoon pop-up storms in a few places. And like I said, it could be Picayune, it could be Bay St. Louis or Gulfport or Biloxi or Pascagoula. A lot of people are at the beach at that point in time today, I would assume. And you don't want to be caught off guard by that. So keep an eye on the weather. If you're looking out in the distance, you're seeing these big, tall clouds that are out in the sky around you, you might want to open up your First Alert weather app and check the radar to see where those storms are and if they're too close to you, and adjust your plans accordingly. Now, as we go to later this evening, the models have been hinting that the Texas and Louisiana storms that are out in Texas and Louisiana this morning, those get closer to us. And this is why I was trying to, bring you this heads up, this first alert, if you will, that we could see some thunderstorms in the area this evening. That time frame, anytime around 4 or 5 p.m., looks like we could see that increasing. So those rain chances go up to 50%. You would think I would have a higher rain chance, but not every model is in complete agreement on this timing. So it's hard for me to go too high on the rain chance because one of our models is a little bit earlier with this stuff and another of our models is a little bit later with this stuff. If we have more model agreement, then I would have higher forecast confidence, and then I could give you a better, higher chance for rain because I'd be more confident in the timing. But because there's a little bit of a lower confidence on the exact timing of this stuff, going with about a 50% chance. And I will leave it to the next meteorologist on shift today to decide whether they want to adjust those rain chances up or down depending on the latest trends that they are seeing when they get into the office later today. But as you can see, looks like there could be some downpours, some rumbles of thunder for South Mississippi, or at least parts of South Mississippi this evening. So, that's not good weather to be in the pool around. If you're going to go swimming in the pool today, it's a great morning for it with few storms. But if you're going to swim in the pool this afternoon and the evening, remember, when thunder roars, head indoors. Get out of the pool and go inside. Lightning danger is pretty high in the summertime with these thunderstorms. A lot of people are always doing leisurely activities right before they get struck by lightning. I'm not saying to not enjoy spending time outside today. I just want you to do it safely. So remember, when you hear thunder, go indoors, and that way you'll be able to stay safe. Here's a last look at those rain chances before we head out today. Like we said, this morning, great weather to spend outside. It's warm, it's muggy, it's going to feel hot, but at least you won't have to worry about a whole bunch of rain. 10 a.m. rain chance 20%, not zero, but it's pretty low. It's the lowest we got all day. 1 p.m. the chance increases a little bit, 30%, and you can see like one of the models showed, maybe some of that rain near Picayune, near the Kill. We'll see exactly where those early afternoon pop-ups occur. By the way, any of today's thunderstorms could possibly get a little strong and produce frequent lightning, gusty winds, heavy downpours. I'm not even completely ruling out some small hail. I do suspect the tornado risk is still near zero for today, so that's good news. Now, look at the increase again. We go from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Those chances increase to 50%. So it could be higher depending on what the next meteorologist on shift notices with the trends. Maybe they adjust this 50% higher. But as far as what I can tell right now, I'm just going 50 because my models are not in complete agreement. And then from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., it stays at about 50%. And then maybe after that, you might begin to see a decrease. So it looks like it could, have some downpours heading into later Monday evening for Memorial Day Monday. Not the best forecast for Memorial Day, but we've had worse. If you are a longtime resident, you may recall 7 Memorial Days ago in 2018, we had a tropical system that had us in its sights. Alberto, a tropical storm that South Mississippi was in the forecast cone for on Memorial Day 2018. And even though that storm ultimately didn't really bring us much or any impact, at least it's a good thing that I can tell you today on Memorial Day of 2025, we are not in any tropical system forecast cone. And even better news, the National Hurricane Center is expecting no new tropical system to form or get named over the next 7 days, which gets us right through the rest of May. So maybe this will be a year that does not feature the first name system before the official start of hurricane season. I would love it if that were the case. So hopefully that trend continues with little to no activity in the Gulf, Caribbean, and Atlantic. Well, that'll do it for our Monday edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. I hope that you have a good holiday, especially as we continue to honor those who were fallen in the line of service. And if you're spending time with friends and family, keep them in mind. Well, we'll see you again next time. Take care and don't get caught off guard by some of the possible rain that could be moving in later this evening. See you next time.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.